Good evening. Trust me, a lot of tech news has happened during the past 2 days. Hi, I'm SJ, and you're watching XIA News, a short series off of the usual XIA Tech. Today we'll be talking about the 5G iPhones that's coming in 2020, how Apple is planning to add OLED to iPads and MacBooks in the future, and the fate of the 16-inch MacBook Pro. If you stay till the end, however, there's some bonus news waiting. Let's get started. Analyst Kuo Ming-Chi is one of the most trusted sources of Apple rumors, once predicting that the company would sell 3 different iPhones well over a year before they came true. Now he's betting that we'll see the first 5G iPhones in 2020, despite the fact that Apple's original 5G modem supplier is no longer making them anymore. As mentioned by MacRumors and 9to5Mac. You see, we'd already heard that Apple might get a 5G iPhone by 2020, but it was slated to use an Intel radio chip, something which we have since learned won't be happening, because Apple chose to go with Qualcomm instead, forcing Intel to close up its 5G modem shop. That came at a great cost. Apple agreed to settle all of its pending lawsuits with Qualcomm and spent at least $4.5 billion to secure the case, the chipmaker's cooperation, for the sake of iPhone's future. The shuffle left us with some big questions, including when will we see the first 5G iPhones that Apple has scrambled to swap out its radio chips from Intel. If Kuo was right, the answer is right on schedule. Both a new, smaller 5.4-inch iPhone and an even larger 6.7-inch will have 5G support in 2020, according to Kuo's predictions. And he said all 3 of Apple's 2020 iPhones, including a low-cost 6.1-inch iPhone 12R, will feature the vibrant colors and inky blacks of OLED screens, as opposed to the cheaper LCD panels that you find in today's XR. Don't get me wrong though, the iPhone XR currently has the world's most accurate LCD, but it is still not as good as the OLED panels. But today's iPhone XR will reportedly still stick around for the 2019 model, so don't get too excited. That means every iPhone will theoretically have an OLED panel in 2020. Kuo expects all of them will support 5G in 2021, and Apple having the opportunity to switch away from Qualcomm radio chips to its own in-house modems in 2022 or 2023. And from what we have seen, 2020 doesn't seem too late to introduce a 5G phone. Speaking of OLED, let's talk more about it. Apple may use high-end OLED screens in more of its devices in the future, not necessarily just because it wants to, but because it may satisfy a penalty that it supposedly owes to its OLED supplier, Samsung Display, after reportedly failing to buy enough iPhone screens to make good on its contract, according to a report from ET News. This repayment might even see Samsung's OLED screens appearing in Apple products that have never featured them before, including notebooks and tablets, according to Apple Insider. That's merely what industry sources say Apple and Samsung may be considering, one of their many options to settle the dispute. But it's far too early to say what would actually happen, but it could make sense. Apple uses vibrant high-end screens as a selling point for both the iPhone XS and XS Max, and even the iPhone X when it first launched. But iPhone sales have been slowing down drastically over the years, and the company may need other places to put those screens in. OLED screens aren't just used in phones either. They're in tablets and notebooks, although notably not by Apple. Samsung's Galaxy Tab S tablets were praised for their OLED screens, and only by their OLED screens. And we've been wowed by the OLED screens when manufacturers put them in laptops like Lenovo's ThinkPad X1 Yoga. Strange name, I guess. But it's not clear when we might see them appear in Apple's devices, even if Apple buys in. Future revisions of the MacBook Pro, rumored to launch in 2021, and iPads are said to be using mini LED screens technology, not OLED, according to Analyst Kuo Ming-Chi again, who has a solid track record on predicting Apple's moves. If that's true, and if Apple just now decides to order laptops and tablet-sized OLED screens, any OLED-equipped MacBook Pros or iPad might be quite a few years away. A safer bet is that we'll see an OLED screen come to the low-cost iPhone XR successor in 2020 as mentioned before. Whoa, that was a lot of things to take in at once. So let's both take a break and look at some puppies. Okay, news. IHS Markit analyst Jeff Lin believes that Apple's rumored all-new 16-inch MacBook Pro will be unveiled in September, as noted by Forbes. The redesigned laptop is said to use an LCD panel from LG Display with a resolution of 3072 by 1920. That'd be an increase on the current high-end model's 5.4-inch 2880 by 1800 pixel display. The 16-inch model will also reportedly have a new CPU. Unsurprisingly, Apple only just updated its MacBook Pros line last month, adding more powerful processors and yet another tweak to the controversial butterfly keyboard design. Lin also expects the MacBook Air and 13-inch MacBook Pros to see a processor upgrade in September, while there's no word said on the 12-inch MacBooks, which hasn't seen an upgrade in more than 2 years, unless you count the new gold option, which I don't think most of you would. And if you're still here, which according to my YouTube analytics, you're in the 10%. So here's some bonus news that I promised. So, you know the Mac Pro that Apple announced? Yeah, the cheese grater one. And yeah, the one I made a parody about. It might not actually be as good at grating cheese as you think. Ever since Apple first announced its new cheese grater shaped take on the Mac Pro, one question that has been on everyone's mind is how well could the Mac Pro actually work as a $6,000 or more cheese grater? Fortunately, we no longer have to wait, thanks to YouTuber Winston Moy, who went and actually designed a replica of Apple's new Mac Pro chassis to answer the question once and for all. Unsurprisingly, it doesn't do a great job, which sort of makes sense given the Mac Pro isn't even remotely designed to grate cheese. It's designed to vent air from the inside of the Mac Pro, not turn hard cheese into shredded bits to garnish a bowl of pasta. It's not a great grater. But what Moy's video does highlight is the level of detail and difficulty that Apple is putting into machining the Mac Pro grates. It takes a fair amount of effort to get something remotely close to Apple's design on a much smaller scale, which helps put in perspective the level of engineering here involved in creating the chassis for the actual computer. Still, even our collective Mac Pro cheese grating dreams has died an early death. There is some consolation. Moy goes on to show that the design does make an excellent stand for a bar of soap. So yeah, this has been XIA News, hosted by SJ. Click here to subscribe. Here are 2 videos that YouTube wants you to watch, or should I say I want you to watch. So choose one of them. Click it. Click it. said click it.